Thought experiment 0506-26. Everything everywhere all at once. What if God, Source, Infinity, whatever name you want to give it, fragmented itself so experience could happen? Not metaphorically. Literally. What if consciousness separated itself into souls, and those souls separated further into endless identities, lives, choices, and possibilities, so existence could be experienced from every conceivable angle? One life becomes many lives. One choice becomes countless outcomes. One soul becomes fragments of fragments moving through immense cycles of existence, and maybe that process never truly ends. I started thinking about the yuga cycles from ancient India and how enormous the timescales are supposed to be. Hundreds of thousands of years inside a single age. Millions of years inside larger cycles. Entire civilizations rising and disappearing inside rhythms so large the human mind can barely hold them. Then the thought experiment got bigger. If souls reincarnate through these cycles, think about how many incarnations a single soul might experience in just one cycle alone. Then multiply that across countless cycles. Then multiply that across all souls everywhere, not just on Earth, but across existence itself, wherever consciousness is capable of experience. The scale starts becoming impossible to hold in your mind. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Maybe that is the point where language starts breaking down, because we are trying to describe infinity through the perspective of a localized human identity. But follow the thought for a moment. What if fragmentation is not failure? What if fragmentation is the mechanism that makes experience possible in the first place? Because if Source existed only as total unity, there would be no perspective, no discovery, no experience. Only undifferentiated being. So consciousness fragments itself into souls. Souls fragment into identities. Identities move through lives. Lives generate choices. Choices generate possibilities. Existence unfolds outward into an infinite field of experiential pathways. Then something gets carried forward through the cycles. Not necessarily memory in the ordinary sense, but assimilation. Resonance. The gradual ability of consciousness to hold more experience, more awareness, more totality without collapsing beneath the weight of it. Maybe that is what growth actually is. Not evolution in the normal sense. Assimilation. The gradual expansion of consciousness toward greater coherence. Maybe that is why the spiral matters more than the circle. A circle simply repeats. A spiral carries something forward. Each cycle revisits existence from a deeper level of assimilation than the last. Every incarnation adds perspective. Every civilization adds experience. Every collapse and rebuilding adds texture to the whole. Maybe the reason we forget during incarnation is because complete awareness would overwhelm the experience itself. If you entered a life fully conscious of the totality of what you are, perhaps the localized experience could never fully happen. So the soul narrows itself, lives, suffers, loves, builds identity, loses identity, dies, reflects, and returns again and again across cycles so immense we can barely conceptualize them. Maybe every time the spiral turns, consciousness becomes capable of holding a little more of itself consciously. Maybe that is what the upward movement of a cycle really means. Not perfection. Greater coherence. Less fragmentation. More capacity. If that is true, then the so-called golden ages are not simply paradise handed to humanity. They are phases where consciousness has become capable of integrating more of itself collectively. More awareness. More connection. More harmony between existence and itself. Which leads to another thought. If consciousness has already moved through unimaginable numbers of cycles, then what appears ordinary to us now may already represent immense accumulated assimilation we simply cannot fully perceive from inside the fragment. That idea alone is staggering, because then your individual soul journey is not small at all. It is immense. Thousands of incarnations, endless branching possibilities through each one. Every decision creating new pathways of experience. Every life another layer added to the whole. And somehow all of it eventually reintegrates, which means what humanity calls God, Source, Brahman, The one, or absolute consciousness, may not be a distant being separate from creation at all, but the total integration of all experience across all cycles everywhere. Everything, everywhere, all at once. The ultimate hero's journey. Consciousness fragmenting itself into infinity and finding its way back, carrying the totality of experience with it. Maybe the journey does not even end there. Maybe each reintegration opens into another larger cycle beyond what we can currently perceive. Another spiral, another unimaginable scale of existence waiting beyond the current horizon of consciousness. I do not know, and honestly, I think that is part of the adventure. At some point, you stop trying to solve the universe and begin participating in it consciously instead. You stop fearing the unknown so much. You stop obsessing over certainty. You begin paying attention to what is directly in front of you. How you live. How you treat people. How you treat the earth. Because after all the infinite cycles and immense cosmological ideas, everything still returns here, to this moment, to this life, to this world that produced us. Humanity is the children of the earth. Somehow we need to start living like it. Haggis, my esoteric journey,